Beware the refrigerator in your house, because after you hear this, it might just become the most dreaded entity lurking within your home. This is the story of Priya, about 5 years ago when she was a homemaker at a factory. Back then, she split up with her husband, who was a security guard. So, she had to quit the factory because it was emotionally taxing to work at the same place as her ex-husband. After quitting, she thought about opening a restaurant because Priya's cooking skills were exceptional. After making that decision, she started looking for a place. After about 4 to 5 days, she found a shop with a "for rent" sign hanging outside. The shop used to be a restaurant before, but had to close due to health reasons. The location was great as it was situated near the entrance of several schools and companies. The shop itself was about 4 meters wide and 10 meters deep, with a metal roller door at the front. For the rent, it's around 4,500 baht per month, with an additional 3-month deposit up front. Altogether, it's considered quite a high price, but Priya took it because of the good location. Since she didn't have much money left after paying the rent, she had to buy everything secondhand for her investment. Whether it was tables, chairs, or even kitchen utensils like pots, pans, and spoons, Priya went to look for them at secondhand shops. Eventually, all she had left to purchase were the essential items for the restaurant, which were refrigeration equipment. She deliberated between getting a large icebox or a refrigerator. She concluded that if she opted for the icebox, the cost of ice would be 80 baht per day, totaling 2,400 baht per month, which, added to the rent, seemed excessive. However, if she went for a refrigerator, the electricity cost would be over 1,000 baht per month. So, she decided on a 2-tier refrigerator. The bottom tier is for general storage, while the top tier is a freezer compartment. She could use the top compartment for storing items and the bottom one for keeping beverages, preventing them from freezing and ensuring better cooling at the top. But refrigerators of this type cost around 10,000 baht. Priya found a way by accessing Google and searching for shops selling secondhand refrigerators within a 20-kilometer radius to keep delivery costs low. Luckily, she stumbled upon one called Uncle Mac's Shop, which specialized in selling secondhand electrical appliances. Uncle Mac would sometimes pick up items from people's homes, repair them, and then sell them. He had a variety of appliances like refrigerators, washing machines, old fans, and TVs. After Priya searched and found a suitable refrigerator, she hopped on her motorbike to check it out. She found a 2-tier second-hand refrigerator that matched her specifications perfectly. She asked Uncle Mac about the price, silently hoping for a range between 4,000 to 5,000 baht, and maybe she could negotiate for installment payments. But to her surprise, Uncle Mac said straightforwardly, 2,000 baht. Okay? He guaranteed 7 days of cooling and even offered free delivery within a 30-kilometer radius. It seemed like fate had smiled upon Priya, so she quickly paid the 2,000 baht. When the refrigerator arrived at her house, she wasted no time. She went to the market early in the morning to buy ingredients for her dishes to sell. Upon returning to her shop, she arranged the fresh items like beef and pork outside and chilled water in the refrigerator. At that moment, she had some incense and talisman of success, placing the incense stick near the refrigerator as an offering. But before the incense stick finished burning, customers started trickling in. Customers started pouring into Priya's shop as early as 7 in the morning. Priya thought of storing the beef and pork in the refrigerator, but she never got the chance. Customers kept coming in non-stop throughout the day, to the point where they overflowed, confusing other nearby shops. Some were willing to wait outside in the sun until tables were available. Eventually, everything Priya had for sale was sold out. Even the fresh items she intended to store in the refrigerator were gone. She marveled at the unexpected success of her restaurant. She thought to herself, "Wow, does food really sell this well?" At that moment, feeling exhausted, she went to open the refrigerator to get some water. To her surprise, a foul odor emanated from it. Priya was puzzled. She hadn't stored anything in it yet. She then opened the freezer compartment, and the smell became overpowering. Unsure of what to do, she could only sigh in frustration. She speculated if something had died within the cooling system. She decided to dismantle and clean the refrigerator once again. Late at night, something strange happened. As Priya was about to sleep, she got up to use the bathroom. When she twisted the doorknob to exit her bedroom, she noticed a young woman, probably around 20 or 21 years old, slim with long unkempt hair, dressed oddly, standing outside. Considering that the neighborhood had many students and young people, Priya thought she might be someone struggling with substance abuse. She estimated that she could handle someone of that stature if things turned sour. She was about to ask how she got into the shop. Priya decided to push the door and turned on the light. Then she exclaimed, "Hey, who's there?" As the light illuminated, the girl vanished without a trace. Perplexed, Priya looked around. She wondered, what just happened? When the lights turned on, the girl vanished. Priya squinted, thinking, could it be my tired eyes playing tricks on me? Or perhaps it was because of the exhaustion from selling goods all day. After that, Priya went to the bathroom and then returned to bed to continue sleeping. The next morning, Priya woke up at 4 a.m. feeling exhausted. With all the fresh produce gone, she had to go to the market again to buy more. Then, she returned to the shop and prepared to open, doing the same routine as the day before. After finishing the prayers, she bowed to the talisman and prayed for good sales. That day, customers crowded the shop as usual, selling until closing at 2 in the afternoon. Exhausted, Priya went to the refrigerator to get some water, and the same foul smell emerged. At that moment, Priya was extremely frustrated and exhausted from the day. She cursed at the refrigerator angrily, saying, "Enough already! What is this smell?" After venting her frustration, she carried on with her usual tasks, closing the shop, taking a shower, and going to bed. The next day, she bowed to the talisman as usual, but when she opened the shop at 7 in the morning, there were no customers at all. Not a single one. Some customers who parked their cars saw and hastily drove away. Some students parked their cars, seemed surprised, and quickly drove off. They parked, saw something, and then left without explanation. Priya didn't know what the reason was. Why did they have no sales for the first 2 days? But on the third day, she didn't sell a single plate of rice. As time passed until it was time to close the shop, Priya found that there was plenty of fresh produce left: beef, pork. She decided to open the refrigerator, but it emitted a foul smell, indicating that it was no longer functioning properly for storing items. So, she decided to call the ice delivery service. Soon enough, the ice delivery service arrived with a tank of ice. Priya took all the remaining fresh produce to preserve it in the ice tank. Then, Priya asked the delivery man if he had the number for a refrigerator repair or if he could fix electrical appliances. The ice delivery person noted down the repairman's number and name, Somsak. That day, Priya went to bed feeling less exhausted than the previous days. But she couldn't sleep well, tossing and turning throughout the night. At around midnight, she would get up and go to the bathroom. This time, she twisted the doorknob and pushed the door open. She noticed a woman, the same woman as before, but today she was sitting with her knees hugged in front of the refrigerator. It startled Priya, who hesitated for a moment before stepping back. She waited to see what the woman would do next, and after what felt like almost an hour, the woman swiftly got up. She walked to the refrigerator and opened the bottom door, then slid into it. Priya didn't react much to this because the refrigerator was spacious and empty. She hadn't put anything in it since cleaning it the day before, and she hadn't even put back the shelves. At that moment, Priya knew she had to confront the situation today. Priya went to the kitchen, grabbed a cleaver, and thought to herself, "When it comes out, whenever it does, I'll hit it for sure." Then Priya walked to the refrigerator. As soon as she reached it, she raised the cleaver held tightly in her hand and counted silently to 3 before pulling open the bottom refrigerator door. Nothing emerged, no one, just emptiness. Priya slowly lowered herself and peered into the refrigerator. "What's going on?" she whispered softly to herself. Then, she slowly closed the door and turned back. As she lifted herself up, just as she was about to turn around, the top door of the refrigerator swung open, hitting her head. Shocked, Priya turned around to see that the freezer compartment was open, and inside it was a head. Priya was terrified, and as she stood there in shock, staring at the head inside the freezer, it suddenly opened its eyes and looked at her. In that moment, Priya's legs gave out and she collapsed. Around 9 o'clock in the morning, she woke up. Priya quickly grabbed her phone and called Uncle Mac. She asked Uncle Mac if he remembered her going to buy a refrigerator 2 to 3 days ago. Uncle Mac remembered and asked if the refrigerator was good and cold. Priya replied that it was extremely cold, but Uncle Mac's refrigerator had a ghost in it. As soon as she said that, Uncle Mac hung up. She tried calling again, but he didn't answer. Priya's number got blocked. Not knowing what to do, Priya called Samsak. After a while, Samsak arrived. He asked what was wrong with the refrigerator since it was cold. Priya couldn't tell him about the ghost, so she said that she wants to sell the old refrigerator because she's planning to buy a bigger one. Samsak, being in the business of buying and selling old items, often went around buying used electrical appliances from homes and then resell them. So he agreed to buy Priya's refrigerator. Samsak told Priya that he could offer 800 baht for it. Priya agreed without hesitation, not caring about the loss. It felt like lifting a mountain off her chest because the image she saw last night was still haunting her. The next day, Priya woke up around 7 o'clock in the morning. After showering, getting dressed, and preparing things, she would open her shop. As she went to open the shop, she noticed something peculiar. The refrigerator was back in front of her shop. She was furious, wondering how it got there. Moreover, she knew something was inside it and felt scared. She quickly called Samsak to ask what was happening and if he returned the refrigerator. Samsak replied that he didn't return it. Yesterday, in the afternoon, he sold it to someone else. Priya asked where he sold it, and Samsak explained that he sold it at Uncle Mac's shop, but he couldn't meet Uncle Mac. He only met Uncle Mac's daughter. She checked the refrigerator and it was in working condition, so she bought it. Priya then suspected that Uncle Mac might be the one who placed it there. She suspected that Uncle Mac's daughter might not know about the ghost in the refrigerator. Priya told Samsak she didn't want it and asked him to take it back. After Samsak took the refrigerator back, Priya's life went back to normal. She sold food as usual, with people coming in and out like any other shop. About 2 weeks later, Samsak drove over to Priya's place to have lunch. When he arrived, he ordered food, but what was funny was that both of them were smiling at each other as if they knew what the other was thinking. like silently teasing each other. They waited to see who would ask first. After a while, Samsak told Priya, "Your refrigerator has a ghost, you know?" Priya pretended to be innocent and replied, "I don't know anything about that. Is there really a ghost?" Samsak chuckled and then recounted, "I was planning to sell that refrigerator too, but no one wanted to buy it, so I brought it back home to use it. When I opened it, it smelled. I couldn't figure out what the smell was, so I dismantled it, but there was nothing inside. I couldn't understand why it smelled. Then, one night while I was about to go to the bathroom, I saw a woman, I don't know from where, opening the refrigerator door. When the bottom door opened, there was light, and I saw the woman slipping into the refrigerator. I was startled and went to check, but there was nothing there. As I was about to turn back, the freezer door popped open, and there was a head inside. Priya asked what happened next, and Samsak replied, "I just got rid of it. I removed the refrigerator walls and sold them as scrap metal. As for the motor and the machine, I sold them to Uncle Mac. Now, I have no idea what's going on with it.